1.6D diesels. So today, you find me in the Charente, in sort of southwestern France, because man's been buying things again. Not to Kangoo. This has been part of the family, belongs to my mate Kev. Been a very good thing. I've gone and bought another van. So what we're going to go and do this morning is go and retrieve my van that I've acquired. I've never seen it. Bought it completely blind. Seen some photographs of it. Looked alright, always do. So it's an early Sprinter. It's a 310. It's French registered, but right-hand drive. It's been out here for about 20 years. So hopefully we can persuade it to start, which it will do. It's a Sprinter. We've got it insured. It's going to need one of them French CTs because that ran out on it about 8 months ago. So we're going to bring it back here, tidy on it a bit. We've got a CT booked, get it MOT'd, and then it's usable. But getting it will be the first bit. So that's the cunning plan now. I've got the Kangoo loaded full of batteries, jump start packs, tools, and the stuff a man thinks he might need to have to get it to go. Right, so we've landed. Said top quality Sprinter. We've got a couple of issues, one of which we will show you in a minute. Opened the passenger's door to find quite a sizable wasp nest in between it and the truck, so we're going to have to deal with them. We've been brave and pulled the bonnet catch, but they're going to be angry in a minute. So hopefully, yes, 295 cylinder. Has the oils. That's the coolants, so we're good on that one. Oh, I need to find a 10mm spanner. Right, so this is supposedly, looks like a good battery. Is that 295 or is it 4? Oh, it's a 5, good. Didn't want a 308D. Not there's anything wrong with the 308D, just a bit lacking in the horsepowers. Give it here. Oh, okay. Right. A little bit of bendage needed. Keeping an eye out for the wasps. I don't really want to be attacked by a load of angry wasps. Won't make my day much better, will it? Right, call that junk. Right. Hoop. Perfect. I'm going to get all posh and do the battery terminals up. It's amazing how if you stick a Mercedes Sprinter in a slightly better environment without British road salt, they survive. Right, see what happens, I suppose. Well, we have the keys of ignition. It's going to anger the wasps a bit. Angry wasps. Jacket's out of gear. We have ignition lights. Bonza! Little bit smoky going on there. Oh, there's another bloody great wasp nest just there. 2 Jasper's nests. Yes. That's going to be fairly exciting trying to get rid of them, isn't it? Right, so we'll give you a bit of a tour. This is pretty clean. It's had some patchy work done on the door down there. It's got one of them redesigned screws just there. Now I'll come around here and we'll show you the current problem. So if I go here, not to go terribly close. Let's zoom my camera in. Oh no, that's the wrong way around. You'll see that there, that is a very alive wasp's nest. Lots of them. They're not very happy. And hang on, come back out again. And if we go back round here, just to add pain to my world, we have another one, just the lots of wasps. So we've got to get rid of them because a man's not driving this home with that lot chilling out up there. Right, cunning plan. And a garden rake we found over there. Managed to do it without killing any of them. We weren't very happy about it. What we need to do now is make sure that there's no wasps in here. They're going to be more angry wasps. So inside I've got a bit of fuzz there, broken dashboard, no Jaspers, they all seem to have gone, and we appear to have a full tank of diesel and 280,000 miles. Right, excuse the ad, it's not the Australian version of 6D diesels, we haven't even considered that type of thing yet. So, we have got it home, you're going to see me wash it. So what we have to attend to now, what is it with Jaspers? Go away! Right, is lots of Jaspers, it's been like Jasper week. Where are they all bloody coming from? They're right. Get, whoosh, whoosh, thank you. It's getting this vehicle through what's known as a control technique, which is the French version, go away Jasper, of an MOT. It hasn't failed one, it has just expired, and we need that really to make the transfer of ownership thing that a man has to do in a minute a bit easier. So I've had to order some parts, obviously because we are in rural France. I brought some sort of standard bits with me, like suspension joints and rubbers and bits and bobs that I thought I might need. But it turns out that I might needed a few more bits. It obviously has not seen a service since God was a boy. So we've got oil. I've got an auto dock. It's a brilliant thing with auto dock. You've got an auto dock account. You can send your stuff anywhere you like in Europe. So we're sending it here to the Charentaise. So the side light indicator lenses, they was crap. The backlights, they're crap. Windscreen wiper blades, they're useless. Tried them on the way home. That wasn't a good idea. Structurally, she's pretty good. We have got a couple of small lightning patches on the seals on the passenger side, and we've had to do what a man would never do if he was in England with all his gear, and fill them and underseal them just purely to get it through a test. I don't think it's even going to count, but I'm going to make sure she's as good as good. So currently I've got windscreen wiper blades, front and rear lights, side indicator lights, rear lights, some white underseal, oil filter, air filter, fuel filter, and some other random pieces, all coming from Autodog. So until they turn up, can't really go CTing. So I'll pick this up on Thursday. It's now Saturday. So obviously I need to put this video out tomorrow. So what I've decided to do, I've got lots of bits of like update footage and stuff. So the Kangoo, the Peugeot, even our little Toyota forklift, I could chuck that in. Sort of to make a video, and then next week, once me pits have turned up, because I'm still going to be here, we'll go van poshing, CTing, because we're going to have to, there's some bits that offend me, but I'm having to sort of draw back my offendedness, because it's a bit more difficult to do it when you haven't got your big man shed full of stuff. So, what I'm going to do now is chuck in some updates, and then we will see you lot for the next piece of this next Sunday, once man's got it through a CT, which is the French MOT. Marvellous. Ow, 60 diesels. Right, so we are finally, he says, lowering this diff down. Back on Project Kangoo. Last bit to be done mechanically via coat of paint. Possibly new calipers. Might get some new calipers, because the handbrake pulls are a bit sticky. Wasn't MOT felt they're better after some lubing, but they're not as good as I'd like them to be. So we might just spend a bit more money. So basically what I'm doing, I've got a bit of time lapse. I'll show you that in a minute. I decided, I looked at, obviously I need to replace these rubber boots, because they're knackered. So you either take that lot off, and then try to get this lot, that lot out to get this, that, these off. Or, look like you could just quickly drop this diff down. And while I was here, I was thinking about replacing on these diff carrier things, because they're looking a bit wobbly as well. What's that one like? That one's alright, so we might just need these two. And then I was thinking a man could do the diff carrier doofer thingy wobbly bits, and put 2 new CV boots on. And then all I've got to do is paint me Kangoo, do a little bit more in a wheel arch shaving at the back here, so that one's stupid tyre's clear. And then in theory, we are ready for an MOT test. We can go for an MOT test before we paint it. So it might all work out quite well. Two new CV boots fitted. I mean, the drive shaft bearing ends were a bit of an arse to get off, but they were off back on again, so we're all fitted nicely. And as you can see, those Clio ones actually fit perfectly respectably. So, as I say, if you need these and you can't find them, which you can't, or I couldn't, Renault Clio inners. Right, this back in here, this on, bolts, stuff, done. 60 diesels. Peugeot's back in. So what we're going to do now is, obviously, you saw the last one, we have repaired the back axle. The exhaust was already taken off to do that. So what we need to do is take the back axle out and the fuel tank out so we can weld it up properly. So what Fudgy's going to do, because he's the man in charge of this one at the moment, is he's going to lift this up on a bit of time-lapsey and whip all of that out. Here goes. So, as you'll see, back axle is out and gone. Fudgy stripped the fuel tank, the exhaust, brake lines. So obviously what we're into now, and obviously the filler neck, because there was some rust in here behind the filler neck. So we've got a bit of self-lightening going on in there. Definite bit of lightenage in there. That bit is horrible and offends me, so does that. And then in here is some other nastiness. Gets a little bit worse when we come in here. So, as you can see, the seatbelt anchorage point and the wheel arch over there, they're a bit rubbish. This one, lovely. Passenger's driver's side, she's gone. What we'll do, we'll just hit the big up button a minute. Right, so we had some little surface bubbles coming on here on the thing, but that's fine, that's perfectly good. That bit there, that's not looking the best. We've got some obvious crispiness going on in here, and that's obviously the inside. That's fell off. That's the inside of the boot, where we were a second ago, the bottom of the boot, so that's going to need working on. Now, that's not looking terribly special there either. And then over here, that's obviously where the filler neck held all the guck against the inner wheel arch, so that's sort of gone. We've got a big hole into the rear subframe section there. Let's go. This bit could be solid, but we'll beat at that and find out. And then obviously this here, which is the other corner of the boot, that's horrible. It's going to need replacing. That leg's all right. And then the bottom cross member actually is quite good. We haven't quite figured out why we welded those nasty pieces of steel in here, but we'll have a look. And the back valance is all right. So here goes. Right, so Peugeot project. New corner made, stitched in. Look at that, very nice. Wheel arch repaired. That's the inner to go in there. And then we're on to making this bit, and that bit, and some bits underneath. Right, 60 diesel. So today, I'm fixing my newly acquired forklift. I saw us get the other day. Now, the advert said it had an overheating problem. We found the overheating problem fairly quickly. But basically the water pump had sheared off. The fan had thrown itself into the fan guard and chewed all the blades off of it. The radiator was so solid full of cack that it wasn't really surprising that it wasn't getting any airflow. The top had fallen off the radiator, that was free floating, and the side straps had come adrift. So what we have done, we have acquired a new water pump from DBM. We have a new fan with blades on it. We have repaired on the radiator, so basically I've soldered the top thing back on, cleaned it all up, soldered the side bars back on and given it the mother of all cleans. It is a bit battered, but it's got airflow now and I think that'll work. We also have done some other stuff where obviously the lids are now off of it. We steamed it to death because it was minging. And so far I have the exhaust had sheared clean off, so I've repaired on that, so it's now much quieter than it was before. And we are missing an air filter. So people have been using it minus an air filter, so you can imagine what the carburetor and all the stuff looked like, so I cleaned on that. I'm going to try and see if I can get the original air filter lid to put an air filter in it, or vice versa. We'll have to make something. So what my cunning plan for this morning is to put the water pump on, the fan, radiator back in, the fan cowling, which is over there, and then the rest of the tin work and stuff, coolant her up and run her up just to check to see whether the head gasket survived this overheating experience, or we need to do that as well. Here goes. Right, so we are to a point where we are full of coolant. We need to warm it up, do a bit of tick over tweaking, let it run, and wait for the thermostat to open, hopefully. So we do this. Right, so it doesn't appear to be overheating. It is 90% coolant tight. I think we have a very minor radiator leak, so we might use some Radwell just to cure that for a minute and then get a new radiator. But at least at the moment it's usable as long as we keep an eye on it. So what I'm going to do now is refit all the bits that a man took off to get in here, so that we can whiz around with it, keep an eye. We have the working temperature gauge. I've got a leaky fuel pump, which I brought back to life. So I need to get a fuel pump for the petrol side. Because you know what happens if you have a vehicle that runs on gas, you run out of gas, this could be stuck and make a bit of movement. So this is petrol gas, so I'd rather have the ability to run it on petrol as well. And then I'm going to put all this tin work, gas hoses, bits of stuff, job all back on. I will quickly chuck a tub of Radwell in it just to cure it's a very minor leak at the bottom of the core, so we can use it for a bit and then see how much TVM want for a new radiator. And then obviously we've got some servicing and some filters, and we did have a fairly sizable transmission fluid leak, but I've cured that as well. That was off the bottom of the rad. All is going well.